America, everyone should be able to go as far as their hard work and God-given talent will take them, and possibilities. We're the only ones. That's why we're viewed as the ugly Americans. We think anything's possible.
Oh, yeah. America's back. I mean, back where? I wish he would just put it back the way we found it. What he really believes is that making America as woke as humanly possible will make our adversaries somehow like us more. That's why we just put a rubber stamp on the biggest affirmative action hire in American history. The woman who Joe Biden just had confirmed to the Supreme Court can't define what a woman is because she's not a biologist. So half the reason she got the job was because of the gender that she can't define. I mean, come on. This would be comical if it wasn't fake news. I mean, come on, folks. But it's real. We're outside of the Supreme Court distraction, amongst all the problems, transgenderism, though, and the gender identity, they've all become like the #1 priority for all Democrats. They're trying to tell you right now that Florida's parental rights bill is they call it the Don't Say Gay bill, despite the fact it says nothing like that anywhere in the bill. They're also trying to tell you that children are not being taught LGBTQ LMNOP agenda in secret. While we're seeing proof of this exactly right now happening in our schools across the country on a daily basis. Today, the Garden State, here's a fresh look at what students in New Jersey will be learning in the fall. Left-wing Governor Phil Murphy apparently thinks this is appropriate for kindergarten through high school seniors. Kindergarten, of course, being 5- and 6-year-olds. Respecting young people's rights to honest sexual education. By the end of this lesson, students will be able to define gender identity, and gender role stereotypes. I mean, this is the same Governor Murphy that got booed when he went woke during a debate in his home state.
There's so much on the ballot. There's so much at stake. Do we stand with our sacred democracy, or do we stand with Confederate flags and white supremacists and a pack of lies? Do we stand? Do we continue? Do we continue to make the tough?
They're booing because people don't like this racist comparison. There are people like that out there, and we condemn them wholly. But I mean, people are booing him in his home state because he does stuff like this. He goes right to the identity politics. He forces gender identity on 5- and 6-year-olds. When I was in high school, this wasn't even an issue. I knew nothing about my teachers. If I even saw them outside of school, I was like, whoa, they exist outside of the classroom? But now teachers are walking out of the classroom because they can't share their personal details about who they sleep with at home. They're protesting because they can't teach kids sex eds before they can tie their shoes. No, teach my kids the skills to compete in the global job market. That's all. Their pronouns aren't going to help them get a rocket into space or cure cancer. Your transgender, non-binary relationship has no place in the classroom. But despite all the opposition from liberals on this bill, this was the White House response.
You guys opposed this law that bans classroom instruction about sexual orientation and gender identity in K through 3. Does the White House support that kind of classroom instruction before kindergarten? Do
you have examples of schools in Florida that are teaching kindergartners about sex education?
I'm just asking for the president's opinion.
I think that's a relevant question.
Yep. Jen, I do have some examples. We just showed you the latest one out of New Jersey for kids as young as 5. Think about that. Just yesterday, some documents came to light showing a school outside Wilmington, North Carolina was actively working with confused students to keep their gender transition a secret from their parents. Exactly what Ron DeSantis is trying to protect them against with this Florida bill. How about in the Emerald City? Seattle, public library offering a class on how to host a drag show. Kids as young as 12 are welcome to learn about cross-dressing, makeup, and racy outfits. Just $400 for a week-long summer camp if you want to go. And definitely don't worry about leaving your kids alone with that guy for a few hours. I mean, geez. My personal favorite, or actually my least favorite, from my home state of Connecticut, a cartoon shown to 2nd graders, 7- and 8-year-olds, talking about how parents sometimes drink and put their private parts in your private parts. I mean, you're probably sitting there at home saying, like, come on, Carl, this can't be real. It's real. It's real. Want to know how I know? Because it happened at my daughter's school, where she happens to be in the 2nd grade. I mean, this list goes on and on. Sex ed for kindergartners, encouraging gender transitioning, sometimes even attempting to circumvent parental consent, encouraging same-sex experiences. This should be nowhere in our school curriculum. Nowhere. Teachers unions in Florida and across the country have said, hey, no, you know what? We're not trying to groom your kids. Florida said, okay, fine, that sounds good. Let's make a law about it. Now suddenly a bunch of teachers are walking off the job in protest of it. You see the problem here? It's big. Even Disney, the timeless children's programming company, we all grew up with this as like the gold standard in wholesome family entertainment, taking a stance in favor of teachers being able to sexualize young children. Sorry, not sorry here, but if you need a bill to tell you not to talk about the sexualization of kids, you should not be anywhere near kids in the first place. Why a children's company like Disney would oppose this is just beyond me. Possibly the reason why people are canceling their Disney Plus subscriptions en masse. And this outrage is only second to the fact that a dude competing as a girl just won an NCAA swimming title for the women's team. I mean, liberals want to celebrate this kind of like bizarre behavior. And look, you want to be or pretend to be whatever you want, whatever gender you want, fine by me. But where my tolerance ends is when you try to force me to pretend with you, or even worse, when my daughter might be forced to compete against a biological male who claims to be a girl. All right, as Ketanji Brown Jackson said, I'm not a biologist. You know what? But I did attend high school and know that gender is in fact a function of either an XX or an XY chromosome assignment at conception. The fact that we have to explain this to a bunch of people that for the last 2 years were telling us to follow the science with COVID is completely bananas. But we're approaching the midterms, folks. Democrats are scared, so what's their solution? They're going to double down. If you disagree with them at all, you're the problem. You're the racist, istophobic, phobophobe. That's their message. And you better bow down. Nah, not me. Not to a bunch of radical ideologues that are totally out of touch with the American people. We're going to see how that works out for them in November.